With me is Bahman Nassiri, as he's going to take us behind the curtain to see the Golden Veil. Bahman, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me, Gigi, and for giving me 8 minutes of your news broadcast. I'd like to ask Alex Jones to give me 7 minutes of his show, so I have my 15 minutes of fame.
Ba-dum-bum, you're very good at math.
Gigi, would you like to know why I'm wearing an orange T-shirt?
Yes, I would.
Because after this show, I'll be taken away to play basketball for 30 years.
Ba-dum-bum. Gosh, I hope not. You know, I want our viewers to know more about your story. So let's get started, and we'll talk about The Golden Veil, the movie that you made. But let's talk a little bit about Bahman.
Right. I'm an Iranian exile turned into an Iranian-American filmmaker. I am also a 32nd degree Mason, trying to reveal the truth. But if I start talking, Gigi, I'll have to speak for 2 or 3 hours. So I'll leave that for a face-to-face debate with Alex Jones.
Okay, all right.
To learn more about me, viewers should type my name in YouTube search box and click on the yellow rose where they will find my recent interviews. Also, follow me on Twitter at Bahman Nassiri.
Okay. So Bahman Nassiri at Twitter, and we'll put that up on the screen for the viewers too. Let's jump right in and talk about the Skull and Bones issue.
The Skull and Bones, wow. You mean the Skull and Bones relationship with the Rosh Hashanah, where I have shown that in my feature film, The Golden Veil, and also I've talked about that in a number of interviews. Well, I'll try to explain this quickly. Okay. What do you see here, Gigi?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. It's a pyramid.
It's a pyramid.
Mm-hmm, with a ring in it.
7 billion people lie at the bottom of the pyramid.
Okay.
The main part of the pyramid is occupied by Freemasons. Freemasons who know nothing about what is at the top, where you will see the all-seeing eye. If you turn a dollar banknote, you will see that. Okay. The all-seeing eye, a small portion of the pyramid at the top is occupied by a secret society that I have explained in my interviews. They are called the Eagles. Now, between the section occupied by the Freemasons and the Eagles, there is a section where the Skull and Bones and the Rosh Hashanah occupy. Now, you know what important figures are members of the Skull and Bones. So let me now explain about the Rosh Hashanah. The Rosh Hashanah goes back to the 16th century, and it started in the mountains of Afghanistan. Osama bin Laden was a member of the Rosh Hashanah at the age of 21. It was later on that he formed his own group called Al-Qaeda. And he actually participated in kicking Russians out of Afghanistan. Now, you may already be trying to connect the dots. The Rosh Hashanah is considered as a sister branch of the Skull and Bones.
Okay.
So now this will make it interesting for you and for those who believe that 9/11 was a conspiracy. Because if George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, etc., they are members of the Skull and Bones, and Osama bin Laden was a member of the Rosh Hashanah, although he would never have admitted to it, then there is a connection there. You agree?
Yes, I do agree. And I always wondered why there was some kind of communication between the Bushes and that side. I didn't understand it. So please continue.
Yes. You will notice in my interviews that I explain what I know about the secret plans to begin World War III, plus more. And I state my case why it is so wrong for the Obama administration to begin dialogue with the Islamic Republic of Iran. We are at a crucial point in the history of mankind. And if we fail in stopping the demons from carrying out their agenda, billions of people will be dead as a result of a world war, which will begin with Muslims and Jews wiping each other out.
And get a little bit clearer on the actual demons. Talk about that.
The demons are the lodge of the eagles, that the Freemasons are not aware of it. And I have to go into detail about all this. It will take me a long time. You know, I realize we do not have that much time on this news broadcast. But in my film, well, Gigi, I'm not here to advertise for my feature film called The Golden Veil, but in this film, I showed the conspiracy behind the Iranian Revolution and the US hostage crisis of 1979, connecting to what is happening today. The Iranian Revolution was a conspiracy. As the first step of the final chapter of the New World Order. And what we are going to see over the next couple of years is Islamic countries in the Middle East turning into Islamic fundamentalists one by one, as we have already seen happening. And I predicted this in 2011 during an MIT debate. Why? Because the big plan is to turn the whole of the Middle East into a big enemy against the United States and Israel, to stage a big war. And behind the scenes, they will be encouraging Iran to manufacture its nuclear heads. Because to make big war, you need big enemy. You wouldn't want a war that would be over in 2 or 3 days, like the overthrow of Saddam Hussein. So therefore, I do not believe all this love affair, I call it, between President Obama and the new Iranian President Rouhani. This is all a show. Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes, they will encourage Iran, they will support Iran behind the scenes to develop its nuclear heads, and that has to be stopped.
Wow. And so how do the Chinese and North Korea and all the other big players figure into this?
Well, you know, the war will begin between Muslims and Jews. And that is how it is going to begin. And I hope that it doesn't spread. But obviously, if you're talking of World War III, they're all going to get involved. The demons, as you call them, their big plan is to reduce world population. Before World War III, there were 3 billion people on Earth, and they used to say that the world is overpopulated. Now we have 7 billion, and natural resources on the decline. And the only way to reduce world population is through atomic wars. I know this sounds frightening, but We are heading that way. And it is up to us, 7 billion people on earth, to stop those demons who are less than 1,000 people who are ruling upon us.
And what do you see being the next wave that will help stop that? What do you believe will be the next thing that will stand against the demons?
By people to be enlightened, to know of these plans which were drawn decades ago behind closed doors. It all began with the Iranian Revolution 34 years ago. But as I have gone into more detail in my other interviews, especially the Hagman and Hagman report, in that interview that took about 2 hours, I explained in detail when it actually originated. And we would be going back to the time, to the 19th century, when Albert Pike wrote a letter to an Italian revolutionary by the name of Mazzini. And in that letter, he predicted World War I, World War II, and World War III. And according to his writings, and that letter was displayed in the London Museum for a while before it was taken away. And in that letter, he explained how Third World War would begin between the Arabs and the Jews.
And what will the Jewish people be doing? What is their next move in the prophecy, so if that's what you want to call what he wrote? What would be the next thing? Are they going to stand up against, or is it going to be induced by the United States of America? What do you see?
Well, the only thing that Israel can do is to, and I'm an Iranian saying this, and I will, once this program is aired, I will probably be the most unpopular Iranian in the world by saying this, but the only thing Israel can do to defend itself, to prevent another Holocaust, is to bomb Iran's nuclear installations. That will put them back probably 20 years, and that will give us time to overthrow that regime and bring back our friendship with Israel. Iran and Israel were good friends for decades. Jewish people were in Iran or the old Persia since the time of King Cyrus, who gave them their freedom. And that all ended with the Islamic Revolution of 1979.
So you're not actually calling for action, though, against them. You're saying we can settle this in a peaceful way by disarming them, right?
It will never be peaceful.
Well, they are obviously not going to say, hey, here, take my nukes, right?
No, they are not going to. They have one aim. The Islamic Republic of Iran has one aim, and that is to manufacture its nuclear heads and attack Israel, because they are looking forward to Armageddon.
Well, here at InfoWars, we don't act, we're not going to say go to war. That's just not something that we're going to say. I see your perspective on it, but we're not going to condone a war. We can only pray that they will do the right thing. And with that being said, I understand that you've had some changes in your personal life as well.
Well, sure. Well, I will be glad to tell you that 5 months ago, I turned Christian.
And I have to say amen to that, and I'm very happy to hear your testimony. It's on YouTube, and it's very powerful to watch.
Mm-hmm. And that turned my life around. I finally realized that I had lived in darkness for 60 years of my life until I turned Christian.
Well, our God is greater than any of those demons. And what we can hope for is that there will be some massive divine intervention that will disarm Iran?
To prevent war, there is a way, and that is for the Iranian populace to rise up and topple that regime by themselves.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
It's been really great talking with you, Bahman.
Gigi, I would like to congratulate you for your great performance in your movie Flag of My Father.
Thank you, sir. Duly noted and received. And give us your Twitter page again so people can communicate with you.
At Bahman Nasiri. And Gigi, if I have a few more minutes, I would like to salute Alex Jones with a message, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Gigi, do you see this?
I love it. Yes.
This is a 357 Magnum.
Yes.
And this is the gun that saved my father's life at his residence in LA in 1983, when Ayatollah Khomeini sent his little boys to assassinate him. Wow. Those who favor gun control shall regret it when their homes are invaded by terrorists, thieves, rapists, or psychopaths. But let me tell you that you cannot defend your family with a handgun. That's why I believe every family should own a long rifle. You know, the only reason those scumbag terrorists do not dare coming after me is because they know I'm fully armed with an AK-47 and an AR-15 and 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Alex, if we had 1,000 men like you, today a gang of less than 1,000 criminals would not have been ruling upon 7 billion people on earth. So I'd like to be one of your comrades. You need an Iranian freedom fighter amongst your team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, that was Bahman Nasiri. And here at InfoWars, we obviously don't want to encourage war. But there is an info war out there that we need to do battle in. And in that info war, I suggest that you reach out to people and tell them about prisonplanet.tv. You can give your username and password to up to 10 people and let them know about Alex Jones and the war that's on for your mind. I'm Gigi Arnetta for the InfoWars Nightly News.
Alex Jones here to warn you about some of the most important health information you may ever hear. I'm talking about radiation, radioactive fallout, radioactive particles contaminating the Northern Hemisphere. Conservatively, since the 1940s, the Northern Hemisphere of our planet has more than doubled its background radiation. In fact, that was before Fukushima exploded. Now the levels are going up and up and up. Fish are contaminated in the Pacific, and the FDA, the EPA, and others, they're not worried about it. They've been raising the levels of what they claim is safe radioactive particles. Well, I began to discuss with my wife protecting myself, her, and of course our children. Most importantly, I have 3 small children, ages 10, 9, and 5. Radiation really affects children more than adults because they have fast-growing cells. All the literature is clear on that. And I went and talked to medical doctors, scientists, nuclear physicists, nutritionists, and I said, what's the number one thing I can do to protect my family? And they said, Alex, it's leave the Northern Hemisphere. Go south of the equator. That's where the radiation levels are very, very low. If you look at the wind patterns, the north hardly interacts with the south. And it's unfortunate that we've done this to our planet. So after more than 2 years of research into how to protect my family, looking at all the literature, talking to the experts, across the board they agreed iodine is key. But of the family of iodine, nascent, natural, non-GMO, non-factory iodine that comes from the earth is absolutely paramount for your thyroid and other functions in the body. The literature, the research, it's there. It's not my opinion. It is admitted that iodine is essential for the health of our bodies overall, and nascent iodine is the best form. Now, we're announcing the launch of InfoWarsLife.com. We're going to bring you scores of products over the next few years that we're researching and developing. But nascent iodine is the first product we're coming out with because it's so important. And it's also listed as a fluoride detoxer. It does so many other things. Your body needs it. And when you don't have enough iodine, forget the radiation, your thyroid absorbs the sodium fluoride and other things. And it's the good iodine, the nascent iodine, that is able to block that and just do so many things for your body and your health. I've been taking it. It's amazing. It's a lot better than coffee, I'm here to tell you. And that's why we are now offering our own nascent iodine that's double the strength, made in the best laboratory that is FDA certified and accredited. And it is double strength at half the price of the leading competitor. You know my rule, bring you the highest quality products at the lowest prices we can, so it's a win-win-win. I believe in you reap what you sow. So not only will you get the best deal on nascent iodine at InfoWarsLife.com for your general health and also for any type of emergencies or disasters, you will also be getting a great deal and supporting the InfoWar and our news operation, promoting the cure for tyranny, the First Amendment, promoting liberty and a rediscovery of the Bill of Rights and Constitution and true Americana that's made this nation so great. So please join me in being among the first to visit InfoWarsLife.com. We've got discounts if you buy the nascent iodine in bulk. I challenge you to try to find a better deal. We have the best deal out there and the best quality. In closing, here is probably the most important point. You don't just take nascent iodine when disaster strikes, when there's some new giant disaster. The Northern Hemisphere is already double what it was 60 years ago with the radioactive background. I believe from the research I've done and the experts I've talked to, it is key to take nascent iodine to protect your thyroid from the radiological disaster that's already happened. And unfortunately, future disasters that will happen. That's why it's important to fill your thyroid up now with the healthy nascent iodine so that the sodium fluoride, the radioactive isotopes, and the rest of it can't get in. That's the key. This is something that across the board has been shown in study after study to be an absolutely essential nutrient in the body. Until a few decades ago, the government put it in the salt because they knew you needed it. But then they took that out, that's good for the thyroid, and put the sodium fluoride in that's bad for it. Talk about eugenics, talk about soft kill, talk about an invisible weapon in the water supply. This stuff is on record as a detoxifier for the fluoride they're adding to our water. Nascent iodine and InfoWars Life Survival Shield in double strength at half the cost of the leading competitors. Please visit InfoWarsLife.com today.